Ever noticed how some people always win? At work, in relationships, in life, and you can't even tell how they're doing it? It's not charm, it's strategy. Quiet, calculated, invisible moves that tilt the game in their favor while everyone else plays fair and loses. These aren't just habits, they're tactics pulled from the world of Machiavelli, where power hides behind smiles and silence cuts deeper than words. If you've ever wanted to outsmart someone without them even realizing it, this is where it begins. 1. The power of strategic silence. Silence is one of the most underrated tools of influence. In a world obsessed with constant communication, those who speak less often hold more power. Why? Because silence creates space. Space for others to speak, over-explain, and even expose their true thoughts. When you respond too quickly, you give away your position. But when you pause, people become uncomfortable with the void and rush to fill it, often revealing more than they should. Strategic silence isn't about being cold or distant. It's about timing and restraint. Let's say someone insults you or tries to provoke a reaction. Instead of firing back instantly, remain calm and say nothing. That silence becomes unsettling. It signals confidence and control, making the other person look desperate or insecure. Even in negotiations or conversations, a pause before answering a question can shift the power dynamic. It forces the other person to wait, giving you psychological dominance without a single word. Silence can also create mystery, which draws people in. They start wondering what you're thinking, how much you know, or what your next move is. Use silence wisely, not to avoid connection, but to steer it. In many situations, your silence will speak louder than your words ever could. 2. Controlled vulnerability. Controlled vulnerability is the art of showing just enough weakness to make people lower their guard, without ever actually giving away your real power. It's a psychological trick that creates trust and disarms suspicion. When you occasionally reveal a flaw or admit a minor mistake, people are more likely to believe you're being real with them. And when people feel they can trust you, they stop viewing you as a threat. This tactic isn't about playing the victim or constantly exposing your struggles. It's about choosing the right moments to reveal something that feels honest, but doesn't weaken your position. For example, you might admit that you were nervous before a presentation. This makes others relate to you emotionally, even if you actually felt fully in control the entire time. That relatability becomes a tool for silent influence. Think of it as social camouflage. By showing a little softness, you avoid triggering jealousy, competition, or resistance. People will think, "She's just like me," or "He's harmless," while you're quietly analyzing the entire game board. The most powerful people often use this without anyone noticing. They lead with humility, gain loyalty, and then guide the situation from behind the curtain. Done right, controlled vulnerability becomes a silent superpower. 3. The decoy effect. The decoy effect is a powerful psychological strategy where you intentionally present a distraction, something that looks important but isn't, so your real intention can unfold unnoticed. It's a classic sleight of hand trick used in everything from sales to politics to personal manipulation. When people are focused on the wrong thing, they don't see what's actually happening. Let's say you're negotiating a deal. You might bring up a demand you don't even care about, just so you can concede it later and make the other person feel like they've won something. Meanwhile, the term you really wanted slides into the agreement, untouched and unnoticed. That fake demand was your decoy. This tactic is incredibly useful in social settings too. Imagine someone questioning your motives. Instead of denying everything directly, you steer their attention toward a harmless detail. "I was just tired that day" becomes the decoy. They stop digging. They feel satisfied with the answer, and your true motive stays buried. The beauty of the decoy effect lies in its subtlety. You're not lying, You're redirecting. People feel in control while you quietly guide their focus. It's not about deception for cruelty. It's about protecting your strategy from premature exposure. Master this, and you'll always stay 3 moves ahead. 4. Selective truth-telling. Selective truth-telling is the art of revealing just enough to build trust while keeping your full intentions hidden. It's not about lying, it's about being precise with the truth you choose to share. In a world where oversharing is often mistaken for honesty, those who master this tactic gain a subtle yet powerful advantage. Imagine you're pitching an idea. Instead of laying out your entire plan, you share the parts that sound most impressive or agreeable. You mention your experience and confidence, but hold back the risky aspects or your long-term strategic goals. This creates an illusion of transparency, making others feel like they know exactly where you stand, when in reality, you've only shown them a curated version of the truth. People trust partial truths more than full explanations. Full stories trigger skepticism, while bite-sized honesty feels relatable and real. The key is to reveal details that make you seem honest, but keep your leverage intact. You're playing a psychological game, showing the truth, not the whole truth. Used wisely, this tactic helps you maintain control in conversations, negotiations, and even relationships. The more others believe they understand your intentions, the more room you have to move in silence and win unnoticed. 5. Unpredictability as a power move. Predictability makes you easy to control. Once people figure out your habits, reactions, or emotional triggers, they can start to manipulate or outmaneuver you. That's why unpredictability is such a powerful psychological weapon. It keeps others on edge and forces them to respect your presence. When you break your usual patterns, you become harder to read, harder to anticipate, and ultimately harder to defeat. Think about someone who always responds with kindness. While that sounds admirable, it also makes them an easy target for exploitation. But the person who sometimes responds calmly and other times with silence or firm boundaries, that unpredictability makes people cautious. They think twice before pushing too far. Being unpredictable doesn't mean being erratic or unstable. It means remaining flexible and mysterious. Don't always text back right away. Don't reveal all your plans. Don't react the same way twice. This subtle pattern disruption makes people wonder what you're thinking, which gives you a psychological edge. In power dynamics, the element of surprise keeps you in control. When no one can predict your next move, they can't prepare for it. And that makes you the most powerful person in the room, because uncertainty breeds respect and fear in equal measure. 6. Delayed reaction strategy. Reacting immediately is often a trap. When someone provokes you, confronts you, or pressures you for a decision, your instinct may be to respond right away. But that's exactly when you're most vulnerable, emotionally charged, mentally off balance, and easier to manipulate. The delayed reaction strategy turns this moment of weakness into a moment of power by simply waiting. When you pause instead of reacting, you gain control over the situation and over yourself. You allow emotions to settle, observe the other person's behavior more clearly, and think through your response with strategy rather than impulse. That silence, that pause, unsettles people. It makes them wonder what you're thinking, whether you're angry, indifferent, or planning something bigger. And that mystery makes you powerful. For example, in an argument, responding too quickly often escalates the tension. But if you calmly say, "Let me think about that," or walk away without reacting, the entire energy of the exchange shifts. The other person is left exposed, often revealing more than they intended. Delaying your response doesn't mean avoiding confrontation. It means owning the timing. You don't give away your emotional control. You reclaim it. In any high-stakes interaction, the one who pauses holds the upper hand. 7. Reverse manipulation. Give to control. One of the most underestimated Machiavellian tactics is giving, not to be generous, but to create quiet control. When you offer value first, be it help, advice, or resources, people naturally feel indebted. It taps into a deep psychological bias known as the rule of reciprocity. We're wired to return favors even when they weren't requested. And that's where the power lies. The key is to give intentionally, not randomly. Give in a way that creates leverage. For example, helping someone solve a difficult problem or offering emotional support during a vulnerable moment places you in a position of invisible authority. That person now sees you as someone they owe, and that subtle sense of debt often makes them more cooperative, loyal, and even willing to follow your lead. It's not about manipulation in the malicious sense. It's about structuring influence. People trust those who help them, but when the help is strategic, it shapes future behavior without force. You've planted a seed that grows quietly. This tactic works especially well in leadership and relationships. Be the one who gives first, but do it with a purpose. That way, your influence doesn't feel like pressure. It feels like gratitude. And that's the most elegant form of control. True strength is quiet, strategic, and self-aware. Use these tools to protect your peace and elevate your influence. Comment: My mind is my greatest power. Stay sharp with Psyche Realms.